Just checking that the slides are showing correctly, Heather and Adam.
Yes, they are.
Perfect. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We're excited to be presenting Creative Convergences, Library as Hubs for Community and Collaboration Through Art at the Innovative Library Conference, sponsored by San Jose State University School of Information. Today, we'd like to share a few recent collaborative projects from Milne Library at SUNY Oneonta, in which art was leveraged in ways that were exciting and innovative for our library. To give you some context, our campus is part of a rural community in central New York, and the university is part of the State University of New York system. Our campus has a full-time enrollment of about 5,300 students, with our library providing support for both graduate and undergraduate programs. I'm Lori Wienke, Acquisitions and E-Resources Librarian and Liaison to the Art Department. I also am a graduate of the iSchool at SJSU.
Hello, I'm Adam Wood, the Evening Weekend Supervisor at Milne Library, and I'm also the Interim Acquisitions and Collections Management Assistant.
I am Heather Stalter, Head of University Archives and Special Collections at Milne Library.
Are one of you able to disable the bell when people enter the room? I'll just keep presenting, but apparently it's going off. Oops. Okay. So the projects we're sharing today demonstrate a few ways that libraries can bring art into their spaces and programs through collaboration, creativity, and community partnership. My professional research is on the positive impact of art in informal learning spaces, and that's in process. But it led me to reflect on how libraries are uniquely positioned to leverage art for discovery and engagement. Libraries are, at their core, hubs for community life. They're spaces designed for focus and reflection, and that makes them especially powerful places for engaging with art. Research about the benefits of art experiences indicates that interacting with art, whether in a museum, a gallery, or even a library, can help evoke empathy and deepen our sense of connection to humanity. Engagement with art has also been linked to reduced stress and anxiety, increased emotional resilience, and it offers the opportunity for personal meaning making. And when art is part of a community-based program, the benefits extend even further. These programs foster belonging and connection while also creating opportunities to discover one's own voice. And this is especially true for groups who historically have been marginalized. So in short, intentionally incorporating art into libraries has the potential to be transformative in both enriching individual well-being and strengthening the bonds of community. So the first project is the Jan van Steenberg Artwork Collection. And this project began when the director of our local public library reached out to our library dean at the university with an opportunity to collaborate on a specialized art book collection. The public library had received a generous request from a donor to establish a dedicated fund for the annual purchase of books with an art historical focus. But the public library faced some challenges in sort of getting this project off the ground. First of all, the library is small. It's located in a historical house with limited shelf space for a new collection that would be expanding exponentially over time. Understandably, their staffing capacity for a small library was also limited, and they didn't have the subject expertise in art to tackle the collection development aspect. And that's where the idea for a collaborative project between the university library and the public library originated. So for this project, collaboration was key. Our library dean recognized the potential for meaningful partnership and brought together a planning team. The campus team included the director of SUNY Oneonta's art galleries, myself as the art liaison, library department heads from public services and collection development and resource management. Coordination was critical because this project touched several operational areas of the library. But together, the team created a framework for collaborative collection development and shared access, one that supports both the academic mission of the university and the cultural interests of the broader community. Here's how the process works. Title selection is a shared responsibility between the art gallery's director and myself as the art liaison. Together, we are able to make recommendations that balance the scholarly research and curricular needs with titles that have the potential to spark community interest. The purchasing cycle is annual and it follows the university's academic calendar, so it begins every fall. The budget for new titles is about $4,000 per year. On the logistics side, the workflow is also a collective effort. The public library handles purchasing, receiving, and cataloging in their system. Each fall, about 75 to 100 new titles are selected from the new purchases, and those titles are transferred to our university library for display. At Milne Library, we carved out a dedicated display space on the first floor, which is a high traffic area, and we also created a new collection designation in our discovery system. Finally, every title is cataloged in both the university and public library systems, ensuring they're both fully discoverable across institutions. Access to this shared art book collection is intentionally broad and inclusive. Both campus and community members can borrow titles from their respective libraries, which makes the collection truly accessible to the entire community. The annual rotation of new titles on display at the university library keeps the collection fresh and dynamic and highly visible on campus. To celebrate the success of this collaboration, our library hosted a community reception last fall after the first sort of iteration of this project. At that event, both our library dean and the public library director spoke about the project's impact. They emphasized not only the importance of building the collection together, but also the value of expanding access to a shared resource that bridges our campus and our local community. The response from the university community has been overwhelmingly positive. Faculty and students alike have expressed appreciation for both the quality of the collection and the visibility of art scholarship in our library. The celebration of this project extended beyond the collection itself, highlighting how the collaborative process fostered connections and strengthened community relationships through a partnership that benefited the greater Oneonta area. And so what were the outcomes and impact of this project? First, the collaborative model solved the initial challenges of limited space, limited staffing, and limited expertise. More importantly, it created extra value through shared expertise, expanded access, and a collection that was stronger than either library could have built independently. In terms of impact, the partnership extended the reach of the project beyond our campus and into the Oneonta community, strengthening relationships between institutions and establishing a sustainable model for resource sharing that benefits everyone. Also, our university now has access to more recent scholarship that is often more expensive to purchase and books that would otherwise have been out of reach for us within the constraints of our monograph budget. The strategic placement of this collection has activated a high traffic space on the library's first floor and created an engaging visual display. And there's a photo that's on the slide that shows just a snapshot of the display. And you can see book covers are displayed outward with many of the books open, allowing the rich imagery of visual art to spark curiosity and enable serendipitous discovery. Finally, we have a collection development strategy that intentionally prioritizes art and artists outside the traditional canon. That means that library users, including students, faculty, and community members alike, gain exposure to diverse voices and underrepresented perspectives in visual art. In the end, the success of this project was about creating access, raising visibility, and expanding cultural understanding through an innovative collaborative partnership, making art scholarship and library resources available in ways that enriched both our university and our surrounding community. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Adam.
Hello, everybody. I'm here to talk about another of our library's art-based innovations. This one focuses on community enrichment engagement within the library and between the library and the campus community. This is a showcase series featuring the creative works of our library staff titled Beyond Books, Discovering the Hidden Artists of the Library. The inspiration for the showcase series came from a poster campaign the library had in its lobby for a few years. It was designed by a previous evening and weekend supervisor for the 2022 National Library Week theme of Connect with Your Library. The posters gave tidbits about the library staff for patrons to get to know the staff and create connections with them. After a few years, several of the staff had changed, and the posters started to fade into the background of the patrons' thoughts just for being up for so long. So due to this, we took the campaign down. It was around this time that we started having conversations in the library about communication, siloing, and about how the library can engage with the campus community. And also about this time, it was noticed that several of our staff members are creative. So what better way to foster communication and engage between the library, encourage engagement between the library departments themselves and the campus community than to have an art showcase series so staff could interact beyond their library work and show the campus community they are more than their profession. The previous campaign, poster campaign, gave chance for library staff to be seen beyond their profession, but that was about it. So the showcase fosters communication and idea sharing among the library staff within and between their departments and among the campus community, especially ones that may not have happened from the usual shop talk. The library, it allows library staff to be seen beyond their profession. This goes for within the library with staff that may not know that their coworkers have these artistic interests, and with the campus community to show that library staff are about more than books. And as everyone knows, work can be busy, and sometimes these creatives don't have a chance to show off their work. So the showcase gives them the opportunity and allows for different displays in the library that are visually appealing and interesting. Having the showcase prompts creative expression, either in personal lives or professional. Someone may see a creative form and decide to try it out, pick up a form that they dropped for one reason or another, or incorporate it into a project at work. So that's kind of the benefits of having this showcase. The way the showcase works is a staff member, student, or professional signs up for a month-long showcase, and we do about 2 a semester. They will come up with a biography for us put up on a poster, which is shown on the slide there. And they install the creative works into a display case. And then we advertise within the library and through the campus bulletin. The showcase is happening and schedule reception about a week after the showcase starts. And then the reception, we have food and drink, and it's a meet and greet between the library, the campus community, and the artist, which allows for a conversation between the attendees and the artist, allowing for the communication idea sharing that we needed beforehand. So next we can show you 3 of our showcase displays. So our very first one was crocheted items by A.J. Sanders, and it was well received with people before it was even advertised. Came up like, oh, that's cool, and everything. And then we had zines by Jamie Ormiston, who's one of our evening weekend staff members. And then finally, the last one that we just did, and is actually still up, is a gel plate prints by Heather Stalter. And people just enjoy all this and everything. So it's an excellent conversation starter and just gets interesting displays in the library. And the gel prints actually Heather Stalter will be talking about next.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Adam. So I discovered the magic of gel plate printing by complete accident during my recent sabbatical and quickly became absolutely obsessed. It gave me a creative outlet that I never realized I desperately needed and had been yearning for. And before, the idea of creating art was actually very intimidating to me and impossible. But this technique is accessible truly to anyone and everyone, no matter their level of artistic or creative experience. And I had zero, so if I can do it, anybody can. So it has truly enriched me personally and professionally in so many ways. It's helped me to realize there are no mistakes, there's only learning opportunities. And for me, being very much a control freak, it's helped me to let go and to trust the process. You can, do everything that you can to make sure that an outcome is a certain way, but it doesn't always turn out that way. And with gel plate printing, it's a fun thing when it doesn't turn out the way you expect, because when you pull the print, it's kind of like opening a present. And no matter like what you prepare for, it's usually unexpected. So I've also become much better at thinking outside the box. For instance, recently I came up with a solution to some problem, and I was like, wow, did I come up with that idea myself? So I'm certain before gel plate printing, it never would have even occurred to me. So it's really helped me change the way I think. And it's also helped me to become more resourceful. For instance, I find uses for things that I wouldn't have before. Nothing goes to waste. Instead of ordering something new, I try to look and see what I can reuse, both in art and at work and at home. And let's see, as an archivist, it's also been interesting to get a new appreciation for paper and the different types of paper there are and the quality and all of that. Finally, it's given me a lot of joy. And when I returned to the library after my sabbatical, I did include it in my sabbatical report, along with the actual work I did accomplish, I promise. But I also shared this newfound passion with my colleagues here in the library, some of whom requested a quick informal brown bag lunch tutorial, which I happily gave them. Okay, next slide, please. So toward the end of the semester, two of our library colleagues were planning their biannual study day, which is filled with snacks and fun, programming, and even a therapy dog. So the little cohort of brown bag lunch gel plate enthusiasts and I approached these two librarians, our colleagues, about the idea of including a gel plate printing session during study day before finals. And so it was included. And the students who stopped in for the session seemed to really enjoy it. They seemed to get about as obsessed as I am. And it was a lot of fun seeing them not only have that artistic fun, but also seeing them connect with each other. And they may not have known each other before, but they were connecting over creating art and learning from each other. And I jotted down a few of their comments, and I kind of wish that I had been doing this more systematically, but you can see a couple of the comments there, and I really like the one that said, "This feels like a dream." Doesn't get much better than that, I don't think. So the benefits for the students included stress relief, a no-pressure opportunity for creative play, discovery of a new artistic technique, and sustainability awareness, because among the papers that they could print on were pages from recently discarded books from the library. So it was fun to see them being used in a new artistic way. The following semester, gel plate printing was incorporated once again into study day. And this time it included tabling from 2 librarians from the public library. So serendipity happened again. And after a conversation with the 2 public librarians, another opportunity arose for me to share my passion for gel plate printing. And I was invited to teach a few sessions at the public library. So far, I've offered 2 classes, which were sold out, so that's a good sign. And the classes were very small and informal. They were less than 8 people, which was a really nice size. And in the description for the class, I noted that it would be a hands-on, stress-free intro class with no artistic experience necessary. And it was also a lot of fun in similar and different ways. But the biggest impact, I think, for me was getting to connect with people in the community and to see them connecting with each other and learning from each other. And one of the attendees and I are actually planning to teach a future class where I'll teach about the gel plate printing, and he'll show the attendees how to actually use those prints to make collage. So that's exciting. So offering this minimal, low cost, very low cost art class allows people in the community to have access to and to try out new artistic techniques without having to buy the supplies. And it also fosters a feeling of community and connection, which I think a lot of us really crave right now. So it's a lot of feel-good stuff, good stuff. And so with that, before we go into questions, I do just want to add that with the projects that Lori, Adam, and I shared here today, the future possibilities are really endless. And we hope that we may have sparked in all of you some new ideas. There is always a spark waiting to happen for any of us. And it's just a matter of taking the chance and going with it. So, Lori and Adam, do you have anything to add or comments, or does anyone have any questions?
I'm trying to see if there are any questions. I don't see any in the chat. Or the Q&A. We're happy to answer any questions if anyone has any. Or you're free to enter comments in the chat as well.
Yeah. Oh, how can I learn more about gel print? Oh my goodness, I can't even tell you. I could talk to you for hours on this. So I came across it by chance. I think it was on Instagram or something. It was like a recommended whatever thing. Truly, if you go to YouTube, there are hundreds of artists who do gel plate printing. And I can list a few of my favorites off, and I can also type in some examples, but I don't think you'll have any issue finding. It's even fun just watching the gel plate printing process, but it is very satisfying. So I'll type in some examples, some of my favorites. So the question about using this kind of program with children and teens, I'm assuming you mean the gel printing. Actually, the second session that I did at the public library, there was a child under, I would guess, under 9 years old that I was not expecting or preparing for. And if I had known, I would have prepared differently because he seemed to have a lot of fun, but it was a different experience altogether. But yeah, it's definitely possible.
Okay, and for Michelle Henley, we do have a couple of artists lined up, depending on if they have anything set. I might have one for October, and we have one lined up for November.
I'll take the question from Phyllis Ann, saying she has a couple ideas regarding showcasing staff artistic talent. Have you had, or do you have a mechanism for showcasing community art in your facilities, or is this better suited to the public library? We didn't talk about it in this presentation, but we did have an artist in residence at our library a couple of years ago. She was a visiting scholar from China who is also an artist. And we carved out an enclosed space in a reading room where she set up shop with all of her tools and supplies and created art in that space, which allowed for people coming into the library to sort of view that. It was sort of a looking glass experience. And throughout it was 2 months, and throughout the course of that exhibition, I guess, she put up each of the artworks that she completed on a wall, and that became like the exhibition part of that experience. So that was sort of not planned. It sort of fell into our lap, but that was a way that, again, our library really connected to our community. And at the end, we had a community reception as well for her, where she got to share more about her process and her art. And that was a really rich experience for everyone. There's another comment for you. We do want to say that there's 3 minutes left, and if you need to go to the next presentation, please feel free to leave, but we're happy to stay here and answer more questions if you have them. I think there's, maybe Adam, you want to talk about the student artworks from the photography show we had up?
Sure. So we have had a few student artists come in, and these two came in a couple of semesters ago, and we really just got to them, but we showcased photography from a travel photography class for a month, and again, we had a reception for them. And it was well received, and one of the professors like, if you have room or the ability to do more, I'll send more students your way. So I have to continue follow up with that lead right there. For Sandra Cugger, if we've showcased community art, don't think we've had showcase community art. We tend to focus more on the campus community with the majority of the showcases that we do.
I'll just jump in with that question. I do know the public library does showcase community art and has openings and receptions, that kind of thing, and it's really nice.
I don't see any additional questions, so thank you for attending our presentation. I'm going to stop the recording.
Yeah, thank you so much. And just feel free to contact us if you think of any questions after.